then you reduce social sciences to what is called a rational choice decision theory. Economics, the way we teach it to you, the way other people have taught it to you, is nothing but rational choice theory. And the interesting thing is that pragmatism actually reintroduces a more holistic view. Scientific validation is not something which is out there. Scientific validation is something which is in the real world. You make a product that works fine, scientifically correct since it works. You make a car that drives, congratulations, it's a scientifically correct car since it does what it should do. You make a rocket that goes to the moon, congratulations, big science since you got to the moon. From a corporate perspective, I go back to my Senseo example. Senseo, for Sara Lee, is an innovation failure. Senseo is, of course, not an innovation failure. If you go to a real paradigm, to a quantum paradigm, then Senseo is the biggest success that Sara Lee has had over the last 5 years. Why? It sells. Isn't that the purpose? Perfect. It's a brilliant product since it sells. And you know what? People are happy with it. So validity is not the 35-step innovation procedure of Sara Lee. Validity is that there is eventually a product that people buy, they like, and it is sold. Talking about marketing, this is a completely different concept. I hope you catch that. If you would like to organize market research in order to get hold beforehand of whether a product might, yes or no, be successful, you're going to organize that differently, aren't you? That is interesting, right? Within a classical paradigm, you get stuck. Autopoiesis is an essential quality, and the people that brought it to us are basically Maturana and Varela. Maturana and Varela, I'll get back to them later on in the course when I talk about biology, but Maturana and Varela are two biologists of Chilean origin. They are from Chile, and one of the concepts they brought to us, and that's interesting, is the concept of autopoiesis. Every neurobiological colony, behavior of the elements is reproductive. That means that each time, over and again, the autopoietic system is going to reproduce. The best example of an autopoietic system is your body. My body is a perfect autopoietic system. If you talk to me today, you talk to me in 3 months' time, you talk to a completely different person. Since my cells, for 90%, are changed. If they didn't change, I would be dead. So your cells change, for 90% of your cells change in 3 months' time. So you meet me in 3 months' time, you come to me and say, that's the guy that was teaching my course. Wrong, I'm another guy. Secondly, the body is self-organized. If I cut here, it is not the brain that sends things to stop the bleeding. It is locally. Since if it would come from here, it would be too late. So local intelligence, distributed intelligence, makes that the bleeding stops. You don't have to do that yourself. It's completely automated, self-organized. Third characteristic of an autopoietic system. There's only one purpose in an autopoietic system, which is survival. The body organizes itself and reproduces itself with one purpose, which is survival. If I cut my arm, the body is going to organize everything in order to concentrate around the heart, hoping to get me survive that. A company is exactly the same. In order to survive, there's only one motivation for a company, that's survival. Not a high shareholder value, not a high profit, survival. You can never, ever motivate people for anything else than the survival of the company. You can never motivate somebody by high profit. You can only motivate somebody by survival. A company will get the support of the people if they feel that the company is going to continue, prosper, and that they are part of that. Look into companies in crisis. Look into companies where people are laid off. Look into mergers. They're afraid for survival and they block. But the reason is very logic. Everybody who feels threatened in his survival is going to act. That is the essence of autopoiesis. It's not whether they are right or wrong, since right and wrong don't exist. It is their fear for survival. That is what you see in companies. One, a company has to reproduce in order to stay alive, which means new people in, other people out, changing jobs, whatever. A company has to be self-organized. If people don't feel self-organized, if people feel ordered, they're not going to move. I don't like to be ordered either, since I want to take my own responsibility. You all want to take your own responsibility. Every employee in a company wants to take his own responsibility. That's the autopoietic principle. Don't be surprised. Autopoiesis is quite an interesting concept. By the way, autopoiesis uses self-reference to get organized. You do not have autopoiesis without self-reference. Autopoiesis, self-organization, is based on the individual. That means that each and every individual in a company has its responsibility and just plays as one person. I give one example. If you think as a soccer trainer, football trainer, that you're able to say to any player to do what he should do is, of course, a falsity. You can't do that. Once the game starts, there are 20 players on the field that all have one goal. And what is that goal? They want to score a goal. There are a minimum of interaction rules. You shouldn't touch the ball with your hands, you shouldn't kick each other, you know. And there is a field defined. If you don't define a field, the game goes to infinity. That's a mathematical issue, don't bother about it, but you understand if you don't draw lines, then you can't play soccer, right? You go everywhere around the world with your ball. I mean, that's no game anymore, okay? Once the game is started, every player on the field plays his game, in interaction with the others, but plays his game. You cannot organize a soccer game. If you ever tried, congratulations, but you cannot organize a soccer game. A soccer game is typically autopoietic. It reproduces, it self-organizes, and it wants to survive. Surviving you do by winning, eh? Since if you don't win, you're at the end of the ranking and you get to the second class, right? So survival means that in soccer. Survival is winning enough games so that you stay within the first division. So what you see essentially in a soccer team is that you have 20 individuals which all have a very simple goal. And that goal, by the way, is making fun. There's only one thing that motivates you in your life. That is making fun. The moment that you find a job that you like, you can't care for the salary. You can't care for nothing. Since you like the job. You wake up, you start singing, you almost rush to your work, right? That is the only thing that motivates you. If you want to motivate people, you only have to keep that one rule in mind. Once you accept that you create the reality by your own observation, then you get to understand what constructivism is. Summarizing what constructivism is and summarizing where you have to position complexity theory. When we built computers, there were two schools of thought about thinking. And when we built computers, the purpose of building a computer was to try to automate human thinking. There were two schools. The first school thought that the brain, human thinking, manipulates symbols. A good human brain can manipulate maximum 6 to 7 symbols. I go further, since if the brain would